Well, Governor Ron DeSantis did call the legislature into a special session beginning January 27th. As we've touched on a couple of times so far today, the main topic is illegal immigration and border security, talking about the policy changes that are going to go into effect with a flurry of executive orders expected from President-elect Donald Trump, who will be inaugurated 1 week from today, January 20th. So the special session slated to begin January 27th. A week after that, and he's calling upon the legislature to take steps to implement Trump's policies and unwind the policies of the Biden administration. Here's what Governor DeSantis had to say just a little bit ago from the state capitol in Tallahassee.
The fight against illegal immigration, as the Biden administration was allowing our borders to be overrun, have millions and millions of people coming to the country illegally. Florida led the way in enacting strong policies to deter and discourage and hold accountable people that came to this country illegally. We are now coming up on the next presidential inauguration. And when President Trump takes office again on January 20th, we are going to see a sea change in policies, particularly with respect to the border and illegal immigration. And this is an issue that has been festering in this country for many, many decades. Although the first Trump administration was much more successful than others have been, this is the time to get it right once and for all. And so the state of Florida stands ready, willing, and able to be able to help facilitate these policies that will benefit Floridians and benefit the American people. We've been working with the transition team. I've been speaking with the president. We had the governors down at Mar-a-Lago. There's going to be some ambitious policy changes that are going to be instituted on day one, particularly with respect to illegal immigration and major executive orders that are going to unwind the bad policies of the Biden administration, but then also provide a level of empowerment for states and local governments to help facilitate the policies against illegal immigration. And so the question for the state of Florida is, we're not a sanctuary state. We banned sanctuary cities my first year as governor, but we have a responsibility to be in this fight. State and local officials in Florida must help the Trump administration enforce our nation's immigration laws. And we are going to need, in order to do that effectively, we are going to need legislation to impose additional duties on local officials and provide funding for those local officials. There also needs to be measures to hold people accountable who are violating our anti-sanctuary policies. And then Florida needs to make sure that we don't have any lingering incentives for people to come into our state illegally. So therefore, I'm going to call the legislature into special session starting the week of January 27th. We have the next president taking office January 20th. We anticipate executive orders to be issued immediately after the swearing in and the inaugural address. We're going to have some time to process to make sure we're doing what we need to do, but then we need to act, and we need to act quickly. We don't have time to waste. The American people spoke very clearly of all the issues out there, and there were a lot of very important issues. This issue of the border and illegal immigration was one of the top issues in the 2024 election, and has been one of the top issues that we've had in this country for many, many years. So it will require new legislation in Florida to ensure that the duties of both state and local officials are very clear, and that those duties require them to be assisting the federal government in this regard. Now, the state, we're going to do it because I'm going to order that the state does it. Local, I think you're going to have some different views on that. Now, we're not a sanctuary state. We ban sanctuary cities, but you got to have effective accountability to hold those folks accountable if they choose to go in a different direction. It will also require some funding. Not a lot of funding, but I have a lot of sheriffs out there that are chomping at the bit. They want to be able to help, and they just need a little bit of funding. So we have responsibility to provide that funding, and we're going to be calling upon the legislature to do that. And just think about it. This will help with the overall public safety. Yes, enforcing immigration law in and of itself is important, But if you think back to the hurricanes we just had, they had looters in Pinellas County. I think there was like 45 of them that were arrested over a period of time. And I think 40 of them were in this country illegally. And I'm just thinking to myself, how the hell is this happening here on the head of a natural disaster? You got people that come here without authorization and they go out and try to loot the place. Give me a break. Those people need to be sent back immediately. So this will end up helping the overall situation, even apart from immigration. Now, the accountability is significant. If those duties are clear in law, I have the authority with respect to certain officials to suspend them from their office if they are neglecting their duties. And that's a authority that I have invoked when it's been appropriate in the past. We also need to make sure that we don't have incentives for people to come illegally. We enacted E-Verify. People said that couldn't happen. We really did probably the strongest legislation in the country in 2023. So I think Florida has really done a great job, with one lingering exception. So back in 2014, the legislature enacted and then the then governor signed legislation providing preferential tuition for illegal immigrants, in-state tuition. That is a benefit that you're rewarding somebody for being here illegally. So that in-state tuition, it's been on the books now for over a decade. We've tried to work with the legislature to get that repealed in the past. It's something that always seems to fall out of the bill as it gets. No more excuses on this. We need to remove all incentives to come to the state of Florida illegally, and that is one of them.